Hey guys, welcome to A Little Bit of Monica. It is time for another TBR, but this one is going to have a little bit of a twist because I have something very exciting coming up this month. May is the month for Escape the Readathon, which is a fantastic month-long readathon hosted by Lexi from Books with Lexi. This is going to be such a fun month. If you are not already signed up for Escape the Readathon, you need to do that right now, but I will also tell you a little bit about this readathon before we get into my TBR because it is going to directly affect the books that I read this month. So, what is Escape, you're asking? This year's theme is the Black Cat Carnival. Now, this means that we are going to be trapped inside of a kind of haunted or very creepy carnival. And essentially, we are reading our way out, but this is a competitive readathon. There are going to be 4 teams, and obviously there is going to be only one team that makes it out of this carnival. The way to get out is by reading the most books for your team. Lexi has done all of the background work to make sure that this is going to be such a fun month, and I am very excited to have been selected as one of the co-hosts for this readathon. So, which team do you need to join in order to be on the best one? I am going to be co-hosting the Snack Squad along with Ashley from Ashley's Little Library. Together, we are going to be victorious this month. I feel it. May the power of the food lead us to victory. Once you join the Snack Squad and get a hold of one of your very own food court bookmarks, there are bookmarks for all of the teams, so make sure that you pick up whichever team that you're on, or you can get the pack, and you definitely don't want to miss out, so make sure that you're joining the readathon, joining the best winning team, and then buying some bookmarks so that you can support the event and also have some of the coolest bookmarks ever. Let's get into what this is going to look like. So throughout the month, there are going to be a lot of mystery prompts that are provided to us. We don't know them just yet, but we're going to be playing games to earn tickets in order to get out of this carnival. And so we don't know what all of those prompts are just yet. However, we do know that there are 10 buildings, and in each building there is a game, and each building has its own prompt, and we know those going into it. So obviously teams are coming up with some very fun strategies, and those strategies revolve around how to pick some of these building prompts to focus on. And some of these prompts have influenced some of the books that I'm going to have on my TBR. However, this is a very easy flowing, almost a mood read type of readathon where you can pretty much read whatever you want and it'll work towards a prompt at some point. So I am going to share with you the books that I have planned, but I have them planned for a very specific reason. And throughout the month, I am just going to be able to pick one off of my existing list and put it towards the prompts that my team is working on. So let's get into this list. The first couple books that I want to mention are actually going to be a little bit separate from the theme that I have going for this month. However, they are just as important. I have decided to add an element into my TBR every month where I'm going to be focusing on the books that I have on my NetGalley ARC list. I have been collecting more and more ARCs recently, and I can't turn them around as quickly as I had hoped, and they've just been stacking up a lot. Now, I have been able to turn a couple around in the last, month or so, but they've been piling up. So I've decided to add a NetGalley ARC section into my TBR every month. So I'm going to review my ARC list every month and just make sure that I am getting the books that are being released that month, make sure that I'm reading them within a reasonable amount of time. And I know that there's some I have on my list that I haven't read, but they've already been released. So I'm going to slowly be working through that backlist as well. So for this month, I have 3 books that are going to be released in May, and then I have 1 book that I'm going to add to my list that came out in April, but I want to focus on it this month as well because I think it's going to be a really fun addition to my TBR. So starting off strong, the first book that's going to be released is coming out on May 7th, and that is When She Was Me by Marley Bush. This is a thriller. I don't know a whole lot about it. I believe it's about twins, and there's going to be some sort of like identity mix-up or identity drama, and this sounds super interesting, so I'm excited for this one. I just got the ARC very recently for this, so it's kind of a quick turnaround for me, but I'm going to throw it on my TBR, and as a thriller, I think this can count for like popcorn reads. It's a new author for me, so we're just going to put it on the list and see what I can do with this one. The other 2 books that I have on my NetGalley list for May both come out on May 14th. The first one is another thriller. It's called She Left by Stacey Gray. Again, I have no clue what this is about. I really like going into books without having an idea of what the synopsis is going to say. 1, if I read it too early, I'm not going to remember the synopsis by the time I pick up the book anyway. And 2, going into books without having a lot of foundation means that I am going to have a more pure first impression and just find out what the heck the book is about as I'm reading through it. So I don't know what She Left is about, but it is another thriller. This one, again, feels like it could fit for like popcorn vibes, or also it's a new author. So we're going to throw this one on. And finally, the third book on my May list is My Darling Dreadful Thing by Johanna Van Veen. Now this book, again, comes out on May 14th. It is a horror, and I, again, have no idea what this book is going to be about, but I'm excited to find out. And because Escape the Readathon is founded in haunted house horror type of themes, I feel like reading My Darling Dreadful Thing, a horror, in this month is going to be very fitting. I also have a specific plan to read some horror books during this month, so it's going to be a really great addition. And finally, the fourth 5th arc that I'm going to be reading has already been released. It came out on April 2nd, but it is Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. This book is a horror fantasy romance, a horror romantasy, and quite literally, this is combining all of my favorite genres. I love horror, I love romance, and I love fantasy, and this feels like the absolute perfect book for me. The description I have read on this one, and I believe it's going to be some sort of a monster. I don't know if it's a demon or an alien or what it is, but they are going to end up falling in love with a person who starts to take care of them, but the person taking care of them is kind of trying to find and hunt down a monster, this monster, that had killed someone they knew previously. Something along those lines. It sounds like it's going to be full of drama, but also so good. This one has been on my list for a while, and I just never got around to reading it. But for this readathon, I am so excited to be adding it onto my list. And I'm also going to be reading this for a couple of other fantasy and romantasy types of challenges or read-alongs, readathons, things like that. So this fits in perfectly for the books that I love to read. So this one is, I think, going to end up being one of my priorities this month. And now that I've gone through all of my arcs that I plan to read, the rest of my TBR, again, this is going to be kind of a free-flowing type of month. I'm going to have these books that are fitting towards what I want to achieve for the month, but I have no idea which ones, how many I'm going to get through. I do plan to weekly vlog during Escape the Readathon and provide you with some weekly updates as I go. So each week, I think I'm going to try to do some different types of themes, but the overall theme for this month is the Black Cat Carnival. So I'm going to be trying to purposefully read more books that are themed around carnivals or circuses. Now these are going to be mostly fantasy and horror, and I'm very excited for some of the books on this list. I'm also a little bit scared of them, but we're going to see how this goes. Starting off strong, one of the books I've been recommended to read a lot over the past year, and I can't believe I haven't gotten to it yet, but this one is so fitting, and as soon as people find out that we're talking about the Black Cat Carnival, I feel like this is one of the first books that people think of, and it is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I haven't read anything from this author, so this is going to be a new author for me. I believe this is a fantasy romance, so I'm going to get some of my favorite things in here, but it's going to take place as a competition setting at a circus, and that just sounds like it's going to be so much fun. So this one is immediately going on. I did mention that for this readathon there are some prompts that we are working for, so as I go through some of these books I am going to be trying to identify some of the prompts that these would work for. Now I'm not going to mention every single prompt, but I am going to just pinpoint a couple. So for this one, again, it's a new author, so that one would work great. This is one of my favorite genres in a fantasy romance vibe. I also feel like this one, I don't know if this is going to be quite a popcorn read or not. I feel like because of the books that I like, my taste, this could count as popcorn, but it also feels like maybe it's a little more fantasy, but I would absolutely count this as a friend rec because I've heard so many people tell me that I need to read this and question why I haven't already. So this one is definitely a really solid choice, and I think I'm going to probably try to read this pretty early on in the month. The next book up on my list is one that if you've read this one and or read The Night Circus, you might have some opinions. I decided to look up some reviews on this one, and it makes me a little nervous to have it on this TBR. However, it's fitting to the theme, so I'm gonna put it on here as an option and we're gonna see what happens. I'm talking about Carnival by Stephanie Garber. I just actually got this book not that long ago from my sister who was going to get rid of it, and I said, I haven't read that, can I have it? So now I have it, and I'm a little bit nervous because I've heard a lot of people compare this book to The Night Circus, except not in a good way. A lot of people say that this book is trying to be The Night Circus and doesn't achieve it. So yeah, this one is also a fantasy romance with a competition setting that takes place at Carnival, which is kind of like a carnival circus. Yeah, it does sound like it's going to be pretty similar, so I am not sure if I'm going to be able to read both of these books or if I am going to pick one over the other. I have had The Night Circus longer and I've been meaning to read that one for longer, so that's probably going to be my priority, but this one's also going to be on the list just in case, and if I hear some people tell me that it is not similar or they think that I would like it or that I should read it, I probably will read it. I am very susceptible to recommendations, especially if you tell me specifically I think this book is one that you would like. I will probably listen. So yeah, this one is going to go on the list. It is a new author for me. This is kind of an intimidating read, which is one of the prompts because I'm a little bit intimidated by the reviews that say it's very, very similar to The Night Circus, and I think I want to prioritize The Night Circus, which means this is intimidating if I were to try to read it later. I don't really know, but it is, again, another favorite genre of mine, the fantasy and romance vibe, so this is going to fit in very, very well. Fitting with my fantasy and romance theme, I am going to throw this one in here as another intimidating read prompt, The Sanctuary of the Shadow by Aurora Asher. Now, this one, much like Carnival, I have read some very interesting reviews about. This one has a circus tent on the cover, and I feel like it was originally marketed as having something to do with the circus. However, once the book came out and people started reading it, I've heard that it doesn't actually have much to do with the circus, or it starts at the circus and then isn't there anymore. Like it's a very small part of the book. So this one's intimidating because I have not really heard all that many positive things about it. I heard anything positive about it? I don't know. But I'm gonna throw it on my TBR. I'm gonna give it a try. It's a really, really pretty copy. I'm obsessed with the sprayed edges here. And honestly, I just need to know. Like, if I don't like it, then I can get rid of it. I need to read it to know if I should be keeping it on my shelves, right? So it's gonna go on here. It's intimidating because I don't feel confident about those reviews that I've read. It's also, it feels like it kind of might be a popcorny type of read. It's a new author for me. Most of the books on my list for this TBR are going to be new authors, so that prompt is going to be so easy for me to finish. But again, this is another fantasy romance, so it's another favorite genre of mine. It's easily going right on this list. Moving on, the next book that I want to add to this list is going to be a thriller, and it is Fantasticland by Mike Bakoven. Now, this book has been on my TBR for like a year, and I don't remember who first told me to read it, probably Lexi. This is going to be a thriller that takes place at a fair or a carnival of some sort. There's a Ferris wheel on the cover. That's all I know. I don't actually know anything about this book other than when I was originally told to read it, it sounded like it was going to be really interesting, and so it is on my list, and now is the time. It's the perfect time to read this book, so I'm going to throw it on there. This one is on Everand, so I will be listening to the audio, and I think I can get my hands on an ebook on Libby possibly, so I'm going to be trying to figure that out as well. But yes, this one's going straight onto that list. It's again another new author. I do like thrillers, although I don't know if I would count them as one of my favorite genres, so this one might not count for that prompt, but it feels like more of a popcorny type of style, so I think I'm going to count this for popcorn reads, and I am sure that this is going to count for at least one or two other prompts. But like I said, I'm not going to go through every single prompt because then we'd be here forever. So now we're going to jump into the last couple books on my list, and these ones are horror specific. So the next one up is Tastes Like Candy by Ivy Tholen. I admittedly, again, don't know anything about this one, but I know it is a horror. I know some people who have given this some very good reviews. I know a couple people who have not loved it as much, but honestly, I'm here for a good time. I'm on the snack squad, so Tastes Like Candy feels like the type of book that I need to be reading. Again, we have another new author. As horror, this one is also on my favorite genre list, and I take this one as a friend recommendation because I know multiple people who have rated this very highly and have said that it is worth giving a shot. So this one is definitely going on, and the final two books that I have on my list are actually a book and its sequel, although I don't know very many people who have read the sequel yet, but the first one, I know plenty of people who have read it and given it 5 stars. Kiara, you just put your tail in the video. Don't you want a starring role? Are you gonna stay with me for the rest? Nope. So the book that I'm talking about is The Cotton Candy Massacre by Christopher Robertson. Now I know a lot of people who gave this 5 stars, so this one immediately I knew I needed to read, and I just went ahead and got a copy for myself because why the heck not? This one is also a horror. I believe this is considered splatterpunk even. It's going to be more of a violent horror. Massacre should tell you enough. There's going to be lots of blood and gore, and I am here for it. Last year I read Cirque Berserk and absolutely freaking loved it. So yeah, I'm excited to try this one out. Also, Cotton Candy Massacre, Snack Squad, hello. I need to read this. It has food right in the title. I mean, can you count cotton candy as food? I think I do. It's a treat. It's a fun carnival treat, so we're gonna count it, and I am very excited to jump into this with the cover. Super creepy, and it makes me even more excited to read it. Again, we have another new author. I would count this as a friend recommendation because I've had people tell me that I should read this. I also think that this is a 5-star prediction. I do think that I'm gonna end up really, really liking this and giving it 5 stars. I don't have any reason not to, even though I have no idea what the book is actually going to be about, other than a massacre that takes place in a carnival. I'm here for it, right? I'm here for it. And following that one, I also decided to buy the sequel, which is The Cotton Candy Massacre Part 2. And I have no idea what to expect out of this one. Again, I don't really know a whole lot of people who have read this yet, but it is a lot shorter. So this one can count as a repeat author because if I read the first one and then I read the second one, it's a repeat author. But also I feel like this counts for a couple of other prompts as well. I feel like with the length here, I could count this more of like a popcorn read. It's horror as one of my favorite genres, so I can count this for that one as well. Yeah, this one's just gonna be a like fun addition. Also, this is creepy, okay? It's just extra creepy and I'm extra excited. That is the list that I have for you. I am trying to make a point to read books that are themed closer to the Black Cat Carnival. Am I going to read all of these carnival books? I'm really not. I feel pretty confident in saying that I'm not because I have some other fun things that I want to try to keep in play for this month, and I want to be flexible because like I said, there's going to be new prompts that are thrown in all the time. So even the books that I listed here and the prompts that they go for, we're going to be throwing so many curveballs in this thing that nothing is going to stay the same. So I am trying to be flexible here, but I have a list to work with and it's going to be so much fun. fun. I hope that you consider picking up some of these books too. The fact that I have a couple of genres, maybe there's something for you here. If you are participating in Escape the Readathon, I need you to tell me in the comments what team you're on, and if you did choose the Snack Squad, congratulations, we are going to win. I just feel it. I feel it in my bones, you know? So tell me what team you are on. Let's get excited because this readathon is going to be so much fun. Let's give a huge shout out to Lexi. If you're not subscribed already, what are you doing? Subscribe to Lexi right now. Subscribe to Ashley, my co-host, as well, because I am so excited to be leading this team with her. We're going to have so much fun in May, and I just cannot wait. So let's get ready. Let's get excited. Make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of my future content. I am so excited for my weekly vlogs that I have coming, and you're going to see me read some of these books. And if I'm getting to any of these like splatterpunk books and I'm having visceral reactions, you're going to see them. Trust me, you will see my reactions. It's going to be a great time. So you don't want to miss out. So let's go through the checklist again. Make sure you're subscribed to me and everyone else in the readathon, especially Lexi, because you don't want to miss out on any of the fun that anybody is having. Make sure that you are joining Escape the Readathon. There is a Discord, so join that too. Make sure you join the Snack Squad because yeah, we're the best. Buy your bookmarks and your stickers and your t-shirts and your sweatshirts, and then get your TBR together because we are diving in head first for this readathon. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you're excited, and I hope that I will see you in my next video.